if you've been around Conduit for any length of time, we are not screwing around. And just because we weren't in here does not mean we were not out there. And I'm going to actually share a little bit of that in the message this morning that God has given us. But one of the places that has been apparent was with our brothers and sisters at Los Casosos in Guatemala, special needs orphanage. That was a special place to David and Jana before they ever came to Conduit. So it's like this is a place in their heart. And so we just saw some amazing things need there, and then you all responded. Could you, just tell us a little bit about what happened there, David?
Yeah, a ton has been going on. There's, like on any given Sunday, there's so much happening around the world that it's so hard to try to put into little sound bites to get information out to you. But this week we really wanted to share. So I was speaking with Maureen. She's a director. If you guys have traveled with us to Guatemala, a lot of you have. Then you've met her, you've spent time with her. She's one of my favorite people to introduce missionaries to, just because she's a really well-seasoned missionary and has a lot of really great wisdom to be able to share. Anyways, I was speaking with her this last week and just kind of keeping up with them and what's going on. And she was telling me the story about how they were given a cow for Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, right? And they were able to have like a meal with meat in it. And it was such a huge deal to the kids and everything. They were able to keep the rest of the meat and put it in the fridge to be able to save for later. They've been eating on it all. Well, just like we've tried to share with you, like when you do something special for someone, it ministers to your own soul. So the people who actually gave them this cow, they made such a big deal about how big of a blessing it was that they got the cow. The people who gave them the cow were so blessed by it, they gave them another cow. So when I was talking to Maureen, she was like, we have this awesome problem that they've given us another cow and we don't have anywhere to put it. We don't have a way to keep that much meat, but the cow's waiting on us to be slaughtered if we can get somewhere. So we talked about it, and I was like, that's a really easy fix, couple $100, we can get you a freezer. And we were able to wire it to her that afternoon. She sent me a picture literally hours later of the new freezer. They went straight to the store and had delivered back to the place, and the cow was slaughtered that evening.
Processed is the politically correct.
Sorry,
term that we
they
use.
were. It was put in neat little plastic packages with wrapping, and yeah, nobody has to think about where it came from. This is Guatemala. They pick their teeth with the toenails of the.
They could care a little less,
Anyways, so now they've got a brand new freezer stocked full of meat, and meat to these kids is such a huge deal. One of the things that Maureen also told me was just how. So part of the lockdown in Guatemala has been that the government has refused travel from district to district, which basically means counties. They have little provinces there, and you're not allowed to travel from one province to the next. So for us, that would mean like we would not be able to go into Davidson County. There would be police at the line, and we can travel inside Williamson County, but we couldn't go outside of our own county. So that presented a problem for them because some of the nannies that they have live, all over the area. They come in to work and they work 2 or 3 days at a time and then go back to be with their families. So the nannies that they have actually made the decision to leave their own families for this entire lockdown and come and stay inside the district so that they could travel to and from work. And so that these kids wouldn't go without care and this has been for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
These people have literally sacrificed their time with their own family. But Maureen's saying, if just like everywhere, everything's dried up, and I'm getting to where we don't have enough to be able to pay the nannies that are even here, and they've made such a great sacrifice and everything. So again, she just mentioned it, and before we could even get word out, you guys some specific conduits stepped up and said that's not going to happen. And wrote a check, and we're able to contribute the majority of the nanny's salary for the next 3 months so that they're able to at least continue. Yeah, go ahead. It's a huge deal. So I'm like, wow, this is just so much amazing stuff. And Maureen, this is why I love Maureen and why I take people to her, is she said, that's not even the good story yet, though.
Yeah.
This isn't even where it gets good. So she starts telling me, she's like, and she just says it so matter of fact. So the kids have been seeing angels. And I was like, I'm sorry. And she said, the kids have been seeing angels regularly. Our little compound here is visited by angels. And she said, and here's the thing, all the kids are seeing them. It happens on a regular basis, sometimes individuals or sometimes a group of them as the kids. And what's fascinating, there are a lot of fascinating things about it. So let me just let the Holy Spirit do the work. But wherever you stand on the ideology of, or the theology of angels and both, whether they exist or whatever, I don't care what you believed before. So a lot of these kids are, because they range in the extreme even of children with special needs. A lot of them have mental and physical handicaps. A lot of them are nonverbal and communicate through various different ways. They don't sit and talk like in a classroom of kids that all share with each other. So the very idea that they could concoct a story on their own is not really a possibility. But Maureen and her staff are able to communicate with these kids individually, and so how they are able to communicate with these individual kids on the same level, she said the kids tell the same stories and describe the same things that they see, even when they can't communicate with each other. She said it happens on such a frequent basis, my nannies are actually getting jealous because they want to see the angels too. And so I said, well, what happens when they see the angels? She said the angels come and they tell them one thing. They tell them, don't be afraid. They said, nothing's going to happen to you. God is taking care of you, and regardless of what's happening outside of these walls and around it, these kids don't understand that what's happening is a global thing because they don't see outside. But the angels keep telling them, don't be afraid. God is taking care of you. God's going to provide for you. And I don't know about you. I don't know where to put that in my little box of beliefs and things that I understand and don't understand, but I know this. I know it's true, and the details are happening, and the fact that God would send and task angels with a message of going and telling these children, don't be afraid, I've got you, and everything's going to be taken care of. It's such a joy to be a part of that as conduits, because you guys as conduits are part of what's doing that, even by helping to pay for the freezer, but also by helping to pay for the nannies that are making their sacrifices to do the same thing. It's incredible.
Well, it's Hebrews, man. Y'all have been entertaining angels unaware, and there are more with us than against us. And if nothing else, we thought we were going down there to minister to those children, but they are prophesying to us. There is more with us.
Oh yeah, they wrote the president.
Of the Guatemala?
The kids wrote the president of Guatemala because different angels came one day. This is a crazy part of the story. I know, we're so behind.
I know we are.
This is the craziest part of the story. Different angels came one day, and these angels looked like army men, is what the kids said. They were clearly soldiers. They weren't the regular angel. And these kids have never seen Ron DiCianni paintings. They've never read, Eldridge and all the new ideology of what warrior angels look like. But those are the angels who came, and they came with a specific message that the kids were supposed to tell the president of Guatemala. So they wrote him a letter and filmed a video of these nonverbal, mentally and physically handicapped kids telling the president that angels had visited them and told them that Guatemala was going to be okay, and for the president to trust in God. And what's important is that they preach the gospel of Jesus Christ in their country.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, we do have a video, but we're going to play it maybe either at the
We are Los Gozosos in Guatemala, and I'm the founder, director, Maureen Casey. And we take in disabled children through the courts, but our program is comprehensive with physical therapy and speech therapy and occupational therapy. And the idea is to love them like our own children, and with good nutrition and working with them individually so that they reach their full potential. they can learn to walk, if they can learn to eat by themselves and dress themselves and then do things in the house so that they'll have a happier life. Some of these children, there is no contact at all with their families, and so they'll be with us the rest of their lives since they can't take care of themselves. And others who are more capable, when they become adults, we find jobs for them in the community, but they still live with us the rest of their life. We do this because we love Jesus, and we really believe what he says about, if you do it to the least of these, you've done it to me. And many of our staff have shared that too, where he then communicates that back. You know, when you gave them a kiss on the cheek, you were kissing my cheek. And when you were hugging them, you were hugging me. Those things are priceless.